Hi, this is Seema and I am back with a new lesson on the difference between the words problem, trouble and issue. Well, all these three words sound very similar, don't they? Well, in a way they are, but there are certain things that distinguish each of these words from each other. Now, what are these differences? So before we go into the differences, let's deal with one word at a time. We will deal with the first word, which is problem. Now, this word is a word you use very often. We all have problems, but you know what? A problem always has a solution. And therefore, if I want to use the word problem in a sentence, I need to make sure that the usage of problem comes only when the problem that I'm stating can be solved. So basically, anything that is solvable is a problem. My first sentence says, I have a problem with my phone. Now, let's look at what the problem is. A problem with your phone. Can that be solved? It very well could. So therefore, I use the word problem. I won't say I have trouble with my phone or an issue with my phone, though that wouldn't be wrong, but problem would be the more apt word for this sentence. The next sentence talks about there's a problem with the internet speed. We all have these kind of problems. Well, again, we need to check. Is there a solution to it? Can it be solved? Well, of course it can. And therefore, I will use the word problem again, like I did with the first sentence. And the most common sentence we all know is every problem has a solution. And again, I use the word problem because I am reiterating the fact that a problem is always solvable. And therefore, when I'm using the word problem, I'm talking about a negative thing, but something that can always be solved. Now that we've learned how to use the word problem, we will now see how to use the word trouble. Well, trouble is not so much connected to finding a solution like the word problem is, but trouble is more connected to a negative feeling or when bad things happen. When bad things happen, there is always this very negative feeling that we go through. So that's when you will use the word trouble. Let's see how. The first sentence says, I'm late. I'm in deep trouble. Why do I use the word trouble and not problem or issue for that matter? I use the word trouble because I'm talking about a negative feeling because of a bad thing that has happened, and the bad thing out here is being late, and therefore I've got this negative feeling going on now inside me, which is why I say I'm late, I am in deep trouble. I do not say I am in deep problem or I'm in deep issue. I say I am in deep trouble. Let's look at the other sentence. It says, if you have trouble understanding the report, give me a call. I wouldn't really use the word problem or issue out here. I would say trouble again because I'm talking about a bad thing happening or something that is not, in my favor. If I don't understand a report, that does not really go very well with me. That brings about a negative feeling, and therefore I again use the word trouble. Well, this is something that, a lot of your mothers have probably warned you about. And as you were growing up, you've heard this very often. It says, this kid is a troublemaker. Okay, so I've used the word trouble and not an issue maker or a problem maker is because your mother, who really is concerned about you, wants to make sure that nothing bad happens to you, and she has a negative feeling when something bad happens to you. So she will use the word trouble. That boy is trouble. Don't date him. That kid is trouble. So you see, we use the word trouble when we want to tap or talk about negative feelings that could talk about a bad situation that has already happened or that may happen in the future. Let us now see how we can use the word issue. Another very common word, issue. Well, when do I use the word issue as opposed to using problem and trouble? Well, I will use the word issue when I want to talk about a disagreement or maybe making some difficult decisions. Or maybe things that are very debatable, a lot of debates and controversies that happen over something. So they are categorized under the word issue. So debates or something that is very debatable. Well, let's see a few sentences to make the point. The first one is, she has issues with everyone. Now, why do I use the word issues and not problem or trouble? Well, in this case, I will not use the word problem or trouble, and I will only use the word issues because I'm talking about disagreements. I'm talking about being a very difficult person, and this person that we are talking about has issues, is not cordial with people, is always in the midst of a controversy, and therefore I will use the word issues as opposed to the other two words. Let's look at the next sentence. This sentence says, the issue with our deal is the cost. So we're talking about, a group of people working out a budget, a financial budget maybe. And of course, in a financial budget, the issue is the cost. Now, I use the word issue because the financial budget, so to speak, is debatable, and it may not be agreed upon by all the people involved, and therefore there is disagreement to a certain extent. But I also want to add that in this sentence you can use the word problem because sometimes an issue is a problem that can be solved. So an issue and a problem can be used both in this sentence. But mostly you use the word issue because, as I said, we're dealing with disagreements, we're dealing with possible debates, we're dealing with a bit of controversy. And our next sentence says, there are many political issues in many countries. Now, political issues, I don't need to tell you what they are. You know them all already. So issues which are political obviously have a lot of disagreements. They're always debated upon. They are always things that need to be discussed over and over again. So that's when I will use the word political issues. I will not say political troubles or political problems, though that wouldn't be wrong, but issues would be more apt because of its definition. Well, that's it from me on this lesson on the difference between the usage of words trouble, problem, and issues. I hope you've enjoyed it and learned from it. This is me saying goodbye, and I'll see you with some more lessons.